My beginning of rugby was when I went to the academy. I went to the village school at Henderson and played football. And then I went to the academy. In my last year, I had bad ankles and I couldn't play it. So my rugby at the academy was somewhat limited. And then I came home to the farm and I worked in the farm, and that improved my health and developed and so forth. My father went to the farm at the now's East Linton. That was in 1924. They started a new club in Dunbar. They hadn't had rugby before, and I was a member of the 1924 and 25 rugby sides. And I played 1924, 1925, and 1926. I think, I don't know, some problem. I had an operation for something, and I didn't play in 1926. But I think it was in 1927 I joined Edinburgh Ackies, and I played several games in the first Ackies that year. And then in 1928 I went out to New Zealand, and I was out there for 3 years, and I played in 1929 out there, I think it was, a dozen games or so for a well-known club, Waipakarau it was called, in Hawke's Bay. And I really played quite well. I was, in fact, the selector of that area said I would probably get into the Hawke's Bay side, which was quite an achievement. But I didn't. I couldn't continue, really. It was difficult, and you were out in the station. And anyway, I didn't play for Hawke's Bay. And then, in the following year, I was out there until 31, but I didn't manage to play any rugby after that. And then in 31 I came home here, and I was again working farm work and that sort of thing, and I rejoined the Ackies, and I played for the Ackies in 32 and 33, played in the trials, and was selected in 1933. I can't just remember now. I think our first game was against Wales down at Swansea. We travelled to Wales and played at Swansea. Managed to beat them by a point or two. And then we set off for Ireland from Leith, and we ran into a storm. And instead of getting in on the Friday morning in Dublin, we didn't arrive in Dublin until the Friday evening, when there was snow and no electricity in Dublin. I think we just came back the next day, but I can't remember. Anyway, there was no rugby. We returned to play Ireland on the 1st of April, and I think the following week, it was in April anyway, I played for the Barbarians, and it was then I had this ligaments down in my knee, and that was the end of my rugby. And then did I tell you about the French game? The French game was cancelled by the Scottish Rugby Union because it was said they were paying some of the players. which of course is the common thing nowadays. But there was no French game, unfortunately for me. What I say, I may be wrong, but I think I am right in saying that we were captained by a soccer player, Ian Smith.
The great Ian Smith.
A flying Scotsman, and I understand been at a soccer playing school, and he had never seen, I suppose, a rugby ball till he went to Oxford, and he was persuaded by the great GPS, Phil McPherson, to play rugby, and that was the beginning of his rugby. And I mean, to my judgment, he didn't know anything about rugby. And before a game or anything, there was no talk or discussion or tactics. That's what I think about Ian Smith. Oh, he scored tries and he seemed to be able to tackle, but I don't think he knew about rugby. That's what I say. He was a soccer player, captaining a rugby side. And I don't think we had a very good side, but the other sides must have been poorer. I think in 1931, no, 32 possibly, I think conditions were different then, and the game was different. The forwards, I was a wing forward, but we didn't pass the ball. We dribbled. The forwards played a different game. I found that in New Zealand, that climatic conditions were quite different. Shorter grass, and here the grass was long and very wet grounds, and there it was. The forwards hardly handled the ball at all. It was all, you remember, feet. That was a big difference.